Hey, what is going on, guys? I want to talk about kind of the dry fire gear that people need, or as far as like just things that's going to help you improve as a shooter. The kind of like, there's a lot of misconceptions out there. Like people they get really invested into like all this like extra gear that usually ends up being more of a barrier to training as anything else. Like for instance, I joined the military a long time ago, and I use some form or another of like kind of a virtual reality training. And a lot of what that introduced was a lot of logistics, a lot of time, a lot of hold up, waiting around, standing around. It's like just a lot of lack of engagement. And then as I kind of went into the civilian sector, I saw like these laser trainers, this dry fire mag, and all these things that were just totally unnecessary. So I had to learn a lot to realize how little I needed, as funny as that sounds. And really, there's only two main things that you really need. You need some kind of timer, something that's going to keep you on track in terms of like, you need something that's going to be a start signal, something that's going to maybe, and then at some point you'll do things that introduce a stop signal. Okay, so for me, I like this timer. It's very loud. It works. It manages for dry fire, all those things. So I really, really like this timer. If you guys want to know, I'll tell you, but it's not a brand endorsement. Really, any timer will do. You can even use your phone. You can download timer apps that kind of like just have part times on there. The next thing you'll need is targets. Something that's very, very simple. Something that is just going to be easy to, whether you're going to be using something like this. That's kind of like these decals from Go Fast Don't Suck, or you'll use kind of these. These are from Ben Steger's Pro Shot. Now, that's really everything you need. If you do those things and you stick with that, like you'll get a whole lot out of it. There's a lot of guys who kind of run this like online dry fire programs and everything like that to help you develop. I think calling it dry fire is almost kind of a disservice. I think if you look at the performance shooting, if you look at that as like a shooting for fighting, right? Like a fight for the shot or shoot for the fight, something to that effect. That I like to use that kind of language, that engagement speed. If you're looking at it from that lens, I think it actually does a lot more for you. Now, with that being said, let's say you want to take this shit even further. You want to take it down to the next level. Then, if that's the case, then what you're going to do is you'll get some like weighted mags, right? You don't need to get that like really expensive dry fire type mags, but I do believe that you should have a magazine that's designated for dry fire. I think if you do that, what happens is that you'll end up mitigating risk a lot. That'll be so where like you're not actually like firing a shot in your house or anything like that. Now, I understand this looks like live rounds, and to a degree it is. There is a real bullet there, there's a real casing there. What's missing from here is that people typically think of ammunition as just a bullet. There's actually 4 parts to an ammo. So there is the cartridge, there is the bullet, which is that lead piece that fires out, the actual projectile. There is, in the back, there's a primer, and inside of it, there's powder. So what happens is, when you get these weighted magazines, you ask somebody to build them for you without any primers and no powder, and then you'll just have weighted dummy bullets. Another thing you can do is you can go, I don't know if anybody can see that. Oh yeah, there you go. So right there you can see I've got some steel bullets in there, or steel rounds, and those are weighted. They weigh almost twice as much as like your live rounds. So you can do that. You load them in there. It takes about, I don't know, I think I have like 20 rounds in here, and they weigh just as much as kind of like a 30-round mag. And what I did also was that the same company that makes barrel block, they also make a magazine block. So with the magazine block, I just kind of leave that in there. So if I don't really reload too often, but having that in there, then if I need to kind of work whatever it is I need to do, my readies and everything like that, I'm not necessarily messing with ejecting rounds constantly like that. I don't do a ton of rack in the slide with my carry gun, so that's why I didn't put a mag block in here. But now the mag blocks, they work really good for the rifle. They work really good, but the mag blocks though on the pistol, they did not work as good for me. As I was like doing the reloads and the magazines would drop, what happens a lot of time, almost every single time, the thing will pop out. So those things, they they kind of left a little bit to desire. So the tap rack training aids, though, those things, they stay in. So I do the same thing here. So these weighted rounds that I got made, that's what I have in here, and all I did was put in the tap rack training aid on top of that. So that way I can do all my slide racking, my table starts, I could do my reloads. I'm not ejecting rounds constantly. I get some people are there like really compulsive about working the malfunctions piece. For me, at least, shooting matches and everything like that, I found that pretty much like 95% of my malfunction problems, they're gonna come from like they can be solved by just reloading the mag, and that other 5% that can't is usually very basic preventable maintenance. So I'm making sure that the gun's not running dry. I'm making sure that I've taken care of it before the match. So things that this is good habits to take with you, especially if like you're in a tactical setting. So like you're going to go out on patrol, or whether that is like as a cop, or you're going to go out on actual patrol because you're in the military or something like that. You integrate that as part of like your pre-inspections in terms of like your pre-mission, whatever that may be, as part of your planning. So that way you get into that good habit. So like there's a lot of crossover in terms of like the habits in terms of like preparing for an event. Those things translate very, very well in terms of like how I take the sport stuff and apply it into like my real world context, whatever that may be. So again, guys, there's really only 3 things you need, or really only 2. Good timer, something that manages part time, something that give you a very consistent start signal, as well as a consistent like pattern of stopping or measuring, some type of targets, and if you want to take it to the next level, then you get some weighted mags. Again, like I've seen people, organizations typically spend a lot of money, like thousands of dollars, on the intricate contraptions and all that shit. None of that shit really helps. Michael Scherhoff, he made mine, Michael Scherhoff Practical Performance. I'll tag him on this video when I post it. Discipline Pistolero, he also makes some. But like you could pretty much find anybody there. Again, also they do make the steel rounds for pistols as well, if you want to go that route. So, guys, I hope that's helpful. I hope that saves y'all money. But a lot of this stuff is really just dedicated training. And if you guys want my help, I'm happy to help. I don't have like a coaching program or anything like that. I've got friends that also do that stuff if you want recommendations. But yeah, I hope that helped you guys. I hope that saved y'all money. Take care.